Okay, so have you ever, like, been browsing online and bam, there it is, that login with Google button?
Oh, absolutely. Every single day.
It's just so tempting, right?
Yeah.
Like, who actually wants to go through the whole rigmarole of setting up a new account with, like, a new password and everything?
It's the epitome of convenience, which, in our world, in our fast-paced digital world, who doesn't love a shortcut?
Right, exactly.
But what's so interesting and honestly a little bit concerning is what we might be giving away without even realizing it.
Okay, yeah, get into that. Break that down.
Yeah, so we're diving into a Spanish podcast episode. It's called "Why You Should Stop Using Login with Google Today."
Yeah.
And it's from a show called Se Pegó el Texto,
Okay.
which if you translate it is the text got stuck.
The text got stuck.
Yeah, and it's really eye-opening because it really highlights how these concerns about data privacy, data security, it's not just a U.S. thing. It's not just a techie thing. It's really a global conversation about how much we value our information in this increasingly interconnected world.
I like that. I like that a lot. So this podcast, the Spanish podcast, they don't really, they don't hold back.
No, they don't.
They're like, no, login with Google is not your friend.
No, they make it very clear that it's about way more than just, getting into a website or an app quickly. It's about data sharing.
Okay.
On a scale that I think most people don't even realize.
Okay, so unpack that a little bit. What kind of data are we talking about, and why should we be concerned?
So think about it. Every time you click that button, you're essentially giving that third-party website or app a potential key, right?
Okay.
To your Google profile. And so that includes, your email address.
Right.
But it can also give them access to your contact list. And depending on the permissions, even snippets from your emails.
Wait, hold on. Snippets from my emails, like they can see what I'm emailing.
It is possible. And that's where this whole idea of like a domino effect comes into play, which the podcast talks about.
Okay.
Which is basically like, all right, let's say you're using login with Google for, I don't know, some health and wellness website.
Okay, yeah.
And let's say, hypothetically, that website, unfortunately, experiences a data breach.
Yeah, which, let's be real, happens.
Happens all the time.
All the time.
So now, because you've used your Google credentials, that seemingly harmless, health website breach could now potentially expose information from your Google account.
Oh, wow.
Like sensitive medical searches you might have done in the past.
Man, see, that's something I never even thought about.
Right. So it's not just about protecting your Google account.
Yeah.
It's about all these other accounts that are now linked to it.
Yeah.
Because you've used that one single sign-on.
So it's like that 1 weak link.
Exactly. That single point of failure that can then compromise this whole chain.
And it is scary, too, because you're right. Like, we hear about data breaches all the time.
All the time.
Like, no system is truly foolproof.
Exactly. And that's why, this isn't about fear-mongering. It's about being aware. Like, what are we potentially exposing ourselves to?
Sure.
When we just kind of click that button without thinking.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Okay, so we've talked about, like, the potential for data breaches, right?
Right.
But the Spanish podcast, they also talk about something that I thought was kind of unnerving, which is tracking. Like, even when you're not actively using Google.
That's right, yeah. And this is where it gets into this whole world of cookies and these cross-site trackers. Have you ever, looked at something online, like a product or something?
Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly you're seeing ads for it everywhere.
All the time. It's like they're reading my mind.
Right. Well, in a way they are, or at least they're reading your digital footprint.
Okay.
And so these trackers, they're like these little pieces of code that these websites put on your computer, and then they follow you around as you browse the web.
Oh, wow.
Gathering information about you, about your habits.
So even if I'm not, like, actively on Google, if I use that login with Google, they might still be tracking some of my data.
That's the gist of it. And what's concerning is Google specifically, right? They have a massive, massive advertising network, one of the biggest in the world. And so all this data gets plugged into that system.
Oh, wow.
To build this profile, this scarily accurate profile of you, your interests, your habits, potentially your vulnerabilities.
So it's like this free service. Like, we always think, oh, it's free, it's great.
Like,
it's not really free. We're paying with our data in a way.
It's the price of convenience in the digital age.
Yeah.
Right. But the question is, are we okay with that price?
It's funny. I always thought I was pretty good with, like, tech stuff. But this conversation, it's like, whoa, there's a lot I haven't thought about.
It's true. The digital world changes so fast. What we think we know can be outdated, like overnight, right?
Yeah.
it's important to be open to learning, questioning those little decisions we make, like without thinking.
For sure, for sure. And speaking of questions, this Spanish podcast, Se Pegó el Texto, they said something else that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
They were talking about how if you use login with Google a lot, it can actually make it really difficult to change accounts later on.
It's true. Like getting stuck, right? You made things easy at first, but getting yourself untangled from that system, it's tough.
Totally. Because now I've got all these accounts and they're all linked to my Google login. Like, what if I decide I want to use a totally different email or just have more control?
That's the heart of it. That digital autonomy, that freedom to choose what's best for you without these roadblocks. And this is where it gets tricky. You're relying on their services, their rules.
Yeah, it's like those loyalty programs. They seem great, but then you're trapped.
Trapped. It's about avoiding that vendor lock-in, as they call it. And there's another point the podcast brought up, using login with Google on like a public computer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I've definitely done that. Check my email at the library or whatever.
We've all been there, right? But imagine you're on a shared computer and you don't log out all the way.
Oops. Yeah, that might have happened once or twice.
Happens to the best of us. But now, someone else could get into all those accounts linked to your Google profile. Right? Just a little mistake with big consequences.
That's such a good reminder. It's not just what we do online, but where we are, too.
Exactly. And this is where understanding our digital lives, digital literacy, that helps us protect ourselves and teach others, too, especially kids.
Absolutely. Like logging out of accounts on shared devices. Okay, so we've talked about some of the downsides, and they're pretty serious. But realistically, we can't just unplug from the internet. So what are our options?
Good news is there are options. This podcast, they highlight a few. First might sound obvious, but strong, unique passwords for everything.
Easier said than done.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's where password managers come in. Store everything securely. You just need to remember one master password.
Okay, that's manageable. Anything else?
Thinking about the services we use, instead of automatically going to Gmail, maybe check out a more privacy-focused provider. Something like Proton Mail, for example.
Proton Mail, right. That's the one that's all about encryption and stuff.
That's the one. Big on security, big on user privacy.
Yeah.
Good alternative to the big guys.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. So switching email, that's one thing. What about browsers? Anything better there?
Definitely. So you've got options like Brave and Firefox. They're known for being a bit more, shall we say, privacy conscious than some of the more popular choices out there.
Brave, yeah. I've heard good things.
It's worth checking out.
It's tough, though, like breaking old habits. I'm so used to that Google button, click, click, done.
Oh, I hear you. Change is hard. But even small steps can make a difference. And there are actually tools out there that can help.
Okay. Like what?
Have you ever heard of privacy-focused browser extensions?
Maybe. Vaguely. Tell me more.
So there's this one that I use. It's called Privacy Badger. And it's basically like a little watchdog for your browser.
A watchdog? I like it.
Right. So it runs in the background.
Yeah.
And it basically detects and blocks all those hidden trackers that we were talking about.
Oh, wow. So it stops those websites from following me around.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It helps limit how much data these companies can collect on you as you're browsing. It's actually kind of amazing when you see it in action, like how many trackers are out there.
Seriously. Okay, so I need this Privacy Badger. Is it hard to use?
Not at all. Super user-friendly, runs automatically in the background. Just another example of using tech to take back some control,
Love that. Take back control.
Right.
Because it feels like we're kind of at the mercy of these big companies.
I get that. But knowledge is power, right? And by understanding how all this stuff works, what the alternatives are,
right,
it helps us make better choices. So
it's not about being scared or going off the grid completely. It's about, like you said, finding that balance.
Exactly. We want to use technology. It's amazing. But we want to use it consciously, right?
Yes.
Be good digital citizens.
Yes.
And it's about asking ourselves, okay, what information am I sharing? Who am I sharing it with? And what does that actually mean?
Such a good point.
And it really all comes back to that very first decision, to click or not to click that login with Google button.
That's so true.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it seems so small at the time, but as we've been talking about, it can have such a big impact.
Huge. Honestly, this whole deep dive has been eye-opening. I thought I had a pretty good handle on this stuff, but I learned a ton.
That's fantastic to hear. That's what we're here for, to get people thinking, asking questions, feeling empowered.
Mission accomplished then. Seriously, I don't think I'll ever look at that Google button the same way again.
And that's a good thing. It's about making those choices, those conscious choices.
Right. Totally. Totally. Well, on that note, huge thanks to you as always, and to all of our amazing listeners for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
It's been fascinating, really, exploring this whole idea of convenience and, what we trade for it in the digital world.
Absolutely.
Until next time, everybody, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember sometimes taking those extra few seconds to make a strong password or check out a different service, that's a small price to pay for peace of mind.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, on that note, that's all the time we have for today. See you next time, everybody, and as always, stay curious.